It's the Brad and John Show.
Brad and John Show. Today's date is July 16th. It's a Wednesday, and this is the C Block, which means we start at right around 7:40, and it's 7:47, John.
We're right on time,
right
Brad.
on time. Okay, couple things. The voice you just heard, Mike Elam. Can I tell you an embarrassing story? And this is an embarrassing story for me, but it's a great story for Mike Elam.
Yeah, did you get lost again on your way somewhere in Lake St. Louis?
No, I went to the Cottleville Weldon Springs thing in Cottleville last night. And by the way, I posted this on my Facebook page. I know you don't look at that, and I already got some interesting comments. There's a parking lot in Cottleville that has one of those gated entries, and you have to pay $5 to get in. And my comment on my Facebook page was I took a picture of this sign that says $5 to park in Cottleville, and my caption was, I thought we moved to St. Charles County to avoid things like this. You don't pay for parking at St. Charles County. You just don't.
Yeah, and Brad, can you tell us where the meeting was?
It was at the Oak Inn or something like that. It was down in the basement. Okay, so as I'm leaving, there's a man and a woman standing outside the door talking, and I say hi to the woman, and I walk by the man who I did not recognize, and as I'm walking away, he says, "Aren't you going to say hi to me?" And I turn around. It's Mike Elam.
And you didn't recognize him because he lost 212 pounds.
He looks, first off, looks like he's trying to do the tangerine tornado thing. He's tanned, but he's not orange, but he's well tanned. He has on close, tight-fitting clothes, a good look, and looks like he's got all new wardrobe. I did not recognize the guy. I think he's lost like 80 pounds now. I'm going like, damn, Mike. I told him, I said, Mike, you look great. And I told him, you've heard me, John's going to say, I've told this story gazillion times. I graduated from high school at 162. 2 years later, I weighed 310. I know about weight loss. I fight it every darn day of my life. To this day, I fight it every darn day. I go up and down, I won't get it. Okay, it's just the point. Mike Elam, congratulations.
He looks great. And, Mike has a really strong presence on LinkedIn. He posts quite valuable things actually to LinkedIn, his opinion on things. And one of them, somebody asked him about his weight loss. And he said the number one tip is don't eat ice cream in your car in a parking lot. And then he posted it online, and he just called it one weird trick to not be an oinker. And I was like, wait, is it Ozempic? Is it Wegovy? Is it tapeworm? It says no, just don't eat ice cream alone in your car. And if you do, don't entertain panhandlers.
From Info Dude Mike Otten. Did Mike Elam have pirate shoes on? No, he did not. If he had pirate shoes on and he had skinny jeans, I'd think to myself, I know he's going for more than just, he's going to become, all we need for Mike Elam to say, I will not be a ladder climber, and then the next thing we know, he's president of the United States. Okay, sometimes I find wisdom in strange places, okay? I found this as a comment on a website. And let me read this to you, John. And let me tell you, if you tell me if this is like maybe, 4 or 5 sentences long. The huge problem that exists is that Democrats believe in thoroughbreds, no interbreeding. As a result, there is no such thing as a dino. But the Republicans operate like a reasonable political party. It allows there to be differing opinions among its members. As a result, there is a wide range of party members, including rhinos. The Democratic Party is a cancer in American politics. It must be eradicated as cancer must be eradicated. No anti-American political party in America should be allowed to continue to exist. Okay, the last part of that, is like whatever. But the first part of that, I thought to myself, this guy has nailed it because the Democrats, for the most part, have become a monolithic party. And what's interesting about it is you've got this Zoran Mondami guy who is essentially saying he's going to take over all the grocery stores and he's going to buy up all the apartment buildings. He's going to make transit free and we're going to completely get rid of the capitalism in New York City. And there's been very few Democrats who come out and say he's a nutbag. You know what I mean? But yet, if he was a Republican, he would be, Tracy's station the transmitter would be on fire right now. Oh, he's a Republican. We need to get rid of him. But this is my point. And I think this guy makes an excellent point because of the fact that if you know the crazy thing, this rescission bill, and you know the whole story about the fact that it was a 50-50 tie and J.D. Vance had come in and break the tie. You know about that crazy thing, right? You know about that?
Yeah. It was in the stories that I linked to this morning. Yeah.
Right. Okay. The point being is that the Republicans have brains. The Democrats are like sheep. Is that a good analogy?
Here's what I think happens, Brad. And I think that this is a good example of Democrats. I think if you have, so for example, in the state of Missouri, it's hard for Democrats to recruit competent candidates to run for the legislature because, to your point, Brad, if you might be a little bit soft on the boys playing girls sports issue, you can't run as a Democrat. So I wouldn't say they're sheep, Brad. I would say there's a lot of Democrats who disagree, Democrat voters who disagree with the party on, say, boys playing girls sports, but they don't run for office, Brad, because to your point, they can't get support from the Democrat Party. So they remain voters and they don't run for office. So what we have then is that selects for candidates who say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, they, them. I believe boys should play girls sports. Yes, I agree with the Democratic Party platform. So I agree with you, Brad, but I don't think folks who run as Democrats necessarily reflect Democrat voters.
Well, see, it comes down, and this is not a chance for me to make fun of or criticize Tracy and Rick Ellis and their radio station, but
you'll take the opportunity.
Yeah, I'll take the opportunity. They built that radio station around the fact that we don't want any rhinos. And remember, I came out with the idea. Well, they're kinos, Christian in name only, and you know what? Wear it because of the fact that I had Rick Ellis tell me to my face that he didn't trust radio people. Mr. Christian dude.
Now he's a radio guy.
Right,
that's
now he's
point,
a
Brad.
radio
so you were saying,
guy.
Brad, tie it back
But
there.
the point being, a true Christian will accept anybody. Isn't that what a true Christian does? Isn't the whole idea of being a true Christian is that you forgive other people's sins?
Yeah, but you also say, okay, I don't approve of your behavior. And it's the cliche, hate the sin, love the sinner.
Right. But the point being is you don't say, well, you're a rhino. We don't like you. You're not allowed at our radio station. And
if you say it like that, it's almost an NPR type voice. Now, Brad, let's get back to your original point just for a second, which is I point out often on my website and in things that I've written, Democrats love to see, for example, Republicans in the Missouri Senate argue with each other or Missouri House Republicans argue with each other. As I point out, Brad, it is because Republicans have a diversity of ideas across issues. So if you are a Republican who's completely pro-life, no exceptions, there are folks in the party who believe that. There are also elected officials who believe, okay, we have to have some exceptions for rape or incest or whatever. And if you're a Democrat, there's no room for pro-life people in the party. There's no room for people who say that partial birth abortion is bad or whatever. So to your point, Brad, we have a diversity on the Republican side of opinions, at least here in the state of Missouri, and we welcome the diversity, and we might argue, but you're welcome in the Republican Party. As a Democrat, there's no Democrat that supports right to work, but Republicans have folks who support and oppose right to work.
You're making my point exactly and excellently because of the fact that Republicans have what should we say? There's a spectrum of Republicans.
Republicans are certainly on the spectrum.
Right. And the point being, this is why I rail against the nutbag patriot or whatever the heck they call themselves, the Freedom Caucus and stuff like that. So in other words, if you don't think just like Bill Eigel thinks, you're a terrible person. I'm going, dude, you know what? I've said it before. I'm not a fan of abortion, but by the same token, I don't run my life on saying, well, abortion is the only issue I care about. You know what I'm saying?
First of all, Jim White just rolled over in his grave. Now, Brandon, unless you had another topic that you want to tick through today, my question for you would be, as we talk about Mike Elam, here's what I think would be challenging. If I'm running against Mike Elam, other than throwing out the idea that he's some sort of a rhino or he's swamp or establishment, how do you run a campaign against Mike Elam?
I don't know. Mike's a nice guy. If you sit down and talk with him, I did a 25-minute podcast with him. I was very impressed with him. He's a radio guy, but we won't hold that against him.
Yeah, but so other than, the nice guy part doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to vote for somebody because they're nice. I think Mike is eminently qualified to be St. Charles County executive. I don't know how you run a campaign against him, but if you do you just fire up your own base? Like if you're Bill Eigel or you're Jason Law, do you just say, okay, all I got to get is 35%. So let's just rile up my base and forget about Mike Elam? I don't know. Or do you call him Do you say he's too close to Kehoe? Well, Kehoe's pretty popular.
Well, I will say this about Mike, and I've said it on the air, and you actually praised my comment at this. I said Steve Elam has been a steady hand at the wheel, okay? And Mike has essentially said, you know what? St. Charles County is moving along quite nicely. We don't need somebody to come in and blow it up. Okay, that's Bill Eigel. And having said that, and not, and I've met Jason Law. Is it Jason? Jason or Justin? Which one is it? Is it Jason
You
Law?
always want to call him Justin, but it's Jason.
Jason Law. Okay. The thing that's a little bit problematic with me with Jason Law is he's still a county police officer. He has lots of friends in St. Louis County, and all of his funding seems to come from St. Louis County. Okay, we have a problem with the city of St. Louis, and the county started going that way too. Do we really want someone coming into office who has being influenced by the St. Louis County people?
I think that's a really weak argument against Jason
Okay,
Law.
whatever be it. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Okay, since we got to get out of here on time, I want to end with a bizarre, weird video, which is making the rounds again, okay? And me being a former helicopter pilot, the last time I flew was 1994 with Alan Barkley. It's a long time ago, 31 years ago, okay? I still very much am fascinated by helicopters. I watch videos all the time. You know it's a bad day when this is a video that's resurfaced, and it's 4 years old, and I saw it again last night, and it's one of these crazy stories. There's a medevac helicopter that's coming into a hospital in LA, and it's landing on the roof. They have the helipad up there, and it's carrying a heart for a heart transplant patient. And on landing, the helicopter has a problem. The helicopter flips over and is sideways on the landing pad, almost falls off the roof of the building, and the firefighters respond, and the three paramedics on board, the pilot and two other paramedics, get out. They're saved. And you see this with the camera shot of one of the TV stations shooting it with their own helicopter. You see this dramatic motion or moment when one of the firefighters finds the case that has the heart in it, and he picks it up, and he takes it, and he hands it to a doctor. And the doctor starts walking off the helipad and trips and drops the heart.
Oh, no.
Yes, drops the heart. And I'm going like, OMG, that heart was not meant to be transplanted. It gets crashed into the helicopter, and then, unfortunately, it gets lost by...
Is that the heart they put in you a few years ago, Brad?
Yes.
Because that would explain a lot.
That's my heart, John. Say goodbye, John.
See you tomorrow, Brad.